What COVID can do with the scientists? Give more opportunities to study human behavior and also organizational behavior, and how the whole world can be reminded to pay attention to the values, what really makes sense, what really is meaningful and purposeful for the individuals, for the organizations, for the societies, and for the city. So therefore, for me as a scientist and also practitioner where I give talks and master classes, my work has been accelerated over this time because I'm constantly giving my talks and master classes online. People sometimes have this mindset, okay, let's harness or let's gather or let's accumulate as much money as possible. And that's one of the main delusions that people have been falling into and actually consciously maintaining in societies for far too long. Because if we really honestly ask what money is, it's nothing more than a stored energy, which can exchange, we can transform it, and we can do anything we want. But accumulating it doesn't make sense because it's just what that word is, potential energy. So what's the purpose of that? And the same if you look at ourselves, people sometimes think, oh, I need to create more energy for myself, so I need to drink more coffee or I need to do more of the exercise. No, we cannot accumulate energies in ourselves. The only thing we can do, we can transform the energies that we have access to, like inner biological energies when you wake up in the morning, and then the external resources. And the only thing that people can do, not to accumulate, but to get better and transforming them. So if we have the access to the same energies, but we can transform into better results for ourselves, for the human beings, for our organizations, and for the city. So I think that's the one essential point that I'm currently working on. It's about human energetic intelligence, how we are not the accumulators. We are the transformers of the energy, or transformation experts. We need to achieve the holistic flourishing for the whole mankind on this planet so far. So therefore, my predominant aim is to accelerate conscious evolution, and how we can do that is the next question. And how we can tie the human nature to the technological advancements so that we can actually utilize them in a meaningful and powerful ways for us. So I think the flourishing starts from within. And then the journey of uncovering what means flourishing internally and how we can help ourselves as a human beings to make tiny or bigger steps towards our own inner balance, enlightenment, flourishing. And then we will be able to instruct our technologies. Only after that we can be able to give good instructions for our technology design, for our city urban design. Then we will be able to give good instructions for artificial intelligence so that the technologies will be able to do one certain thing that they are better at that. It's amplifying. Technologies are just amplifiers. They are mirrors of our human nature. So if we sometimes say technology is bad, it's not bad. It's neutral. It's what we designed it to do with us. Like attention economy is just one great example how it backfires on ourselves due to our human nature. And if you speak about the obstacles, there's just one obstacle, and this is this blue pen. That's a thought. And if there's a one thought that restricts people from changing themselves, it has to be removed. And how to do that? If this is I cannot do it, there has to be another thought, I can do it. And we need to do this, which I call transformation. As a scientist, I always look for the concepts and for the conceptual way to deal with problems or deal with proposing solutions. And if we speak about removing conventions, I think the best possible way to start is to figure out the best possible process for removing any convention. So, and that ties into what I just spoke before. So what is convention? Convention is the collectively maintained perception or the bias or the thought. So if the society has this and this is the convention, we need to do what I showed before. So we need to remove it. So the question is, are we getting better at removing conventions? Do we know the process? Do we know how to do that? And that ties into the transformation science and practice. It ties into the human behavior design. It ties into the city architecture design and infrastructure design, how we can overlay technologies in the urban space so that they can communicate as different ways of realizing the behaviors of other people. So I, in my work, use social influence as a fundament. It's innate. We cannot get rid of it. We just can use it for our good. So instead of comparing that I am in a lack of something, we can compare that with myself previously. We can always use social comparison to ourselves, to the previous selves, and how we are advancing, how we compare our city today with the city 100 years ago, and oh yes, good progress. But then if you look at the state of well-being of this people in the cities, then possibly it's not the case. So therefore, my first call to action is figure out the meta layer of how we have a good process of removing any convention, and then we can go and address any convention that we want. One of the delusions that people perceive science as being artificially applied to the world. It's the other way around. The science is the only real frontier, trustable, validated, reliable frontier that is gradually expanding our knowledge and awareness of what works. And especially when we come to the slippery area. Why it's slippery? Because it's invisible. Why it's invisible? Because it's in our heads. We can see people behaving. We can see things behaving, but we cannot see what are the neurons communicating in the head until people speak that out. But when people speak that out, it also might be just a bias-driven answer, not the real answer. So therefore, I would say, on the one hand, science is a great help to get a little bit more enlightened on how the human nature works and how the human attitudes and biases can be changed and transformed. Not from the outside, not using, again, these old-fashioned motivators like rewards and punishments, but really helping people to uncover these root causes of their suffering today. On the individual level, on the organizational level, on a city scale, I'm very optimistic because this is what I've done with myself. I've been going through major transformations even before I was consciously aware of that. And I think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. What is the good news? The recent scientific discoveries get more and more insights how human attitudinal change can be made practical. So therefore, it's not about convincing. It's not about somebody using the information and their arguments and stuff like that, but tapping into the human nature, our DNA, our genes. And I usually refer also lately to the transformation gene, which means our biology knows what the change means. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Or the evolution is all constant change and transformation. It's just that our intellectual biases towards, in this case, science, in this case, whether that works, is the only barriers. And if we know how to do this simple trick, then we just do it. We start with the smaller things and then we get to the bigger things. I'm just very, very dedicating my life and energy into this. And I'm seeing the results and I'm happy to share those with others. And I really believe it's all about us. It's all about our human nature. The more we understand, the better we get.